Take 75. Hey everybody, my name is Madison. Thank you so much for tuning in. I talk about on my channel spirituality, metaphysical things, remote viewing, Akashic records, energy healing, quantum healing. So if that's up your alley, I'd love to have you join the community. And today we're talking about Project Stargate. And Project Stargate, we're basically going to go through, did the CIA use remote viewing to try to view Mars? And did the CIA work with Stanford Research Institute in order to develop the concept of remote viewing, specifically remote viewing through coordinates? I believe both of those things happened, and today we're going to unpack it. So we're going to be talking about Project Stargate. I originally was interested in Project Stargate because I thought it was going to be about the Stargates. And so if you're not familiar with the concept of Stargates, some people believe Stargates are portals. Some people believe Stargates take you to various underground cities. Some people believe they take you to different dimensions. But the concept around a Stargate is that it is a form of portal that's able to take you somewhere, and there's various maybe ideologies around where it takes you, right? So that's what I thought I was looking into, and then I realized, oh no, I'm actually looking into when the CIA started using remote viewers. And so if you are not familiar, remote viewing is the concept of being able to get into a deep state of meditation, and then essentially your consciousness can separate from your body and go different places, see different things, whether it be past moments in history, whether it be present moment things that you're looking at, whether it be information you're trying to get. But let's talk about why the CIA wanted to do this. So during the Cold War, the Soviets were actually the first to start this process of trying to pair psychics and technology together to be able to create like the largest impact when it comes to specifically being able to see other countries like underground military bases and their plans and where hostages might be and like all this stuff, right? So that was kind of the intention of it. And the CIA worried that there was going to be a psychic gap because the Soviets already kind of announced that they have this like, psychic work that they have going on. And so the CIA was like, we can't get behind, right? So there's been a couple different names for Project Stargate over the years. So Project Stargate started out as Project Scanty, and this was supposed to be focused on, could the mind see what the eyes could not? I think that's the coolest way to describe remote viewing. I always described it from like my experience, which is like my physical body is here, but my consciousness is elsewhere. And I really think could the mind see what the eyes could not is like the perfect way to describe this. So Stanford Research Institute and the CIA worked on this project for many years, where this is actually how they coined the term remote viewing. And they were doing a lot of scientific investigations where they would give psychics or remote viewers coordinates to basically say, hey, go to these coordinates and tell us, what you see there. And that's pretty much all the information that they would be given. And they never really knew why they were looking or what they were looking for, right? But there's a ton of stuff we can figure out from the declassified documents about what they were interested in. So one of the big takeaways that I love to see is that even the skeptics of the CIA couldn't deny that the results were surprisingly accurate. The results were surprisingly accurate. There was a lot of things that they couldn't explain away through the logical senses, right? So the Army then started to use this to be able to find military bases, to be able to find hostages, and they started recruiting specifically for this skill set. So then this is when coordinated or coordination-based remote viewing came into be, which is, hey, view this latitude and longitude set through remote viewing. And that's really how the CIA used it, because they did not want people to have any idea of why they were remote viewing this information. They were just like, hey, go here, tell us what you see. So this went on for so long that there is declassified CIA documents that some of the psychics that they used went through 100 plus operations of remote viewing different things, from submarines to locating hostages to locating a plane crash to locating underground military bases. They actually used remote viewing to find a kidnapped general So crazy stuff that they did. So this was all done out of Fort Meade in Maryland, and a lot of this work is done through being in a deep state of meditation. People who can channel sort of are able to get into this deep state of meditation, and they can separate their consciousness from their body, and the consciousness can go various places, right? One thing that's interesting about this is they weren't just using remote viewing for on planet, they were using remote viewing for off planet as well. So there are over 1 million declassified CIA documents specifically talking about them using remote viewing to try to view Mars, thus insinuating that astral projection is what a lot of people call it, which is being able to remote view, but being able to do it off planet. Very much kind of proves that like that concept absolutely exists, and the CIA knows it exists and has definitely seen some really, really cool results because of that. So the project underwent many different names over the years. So originally it was called Scanty, then it got changed to Sunstreak, then it got changed to Stargate, and then in 1995, Stargate got shut down. I personally believe that it probably still exists today and they just renamed it, because one thing about, if you look at a lot of declassified documents, there's different names for different things, and they'll just kind of tweak something and then say, oh, we shut down this, but this other thing's going on that hasn't been declassified that we don't know about. So my assumption based off of how much time, money, and energy was put into this, and how much this result did, or how much this, did yield positive results, regardless of if the skeptics, don't like that. Why would they stop? Why would they shut down the project? They were able to help a, general who had been captured and protect him through remote viewing. Why would they stop? So I personally believe that all of this went on. We obviously can't deny that there is the declassified documents that the CIA did use remote viewing. They did use it to go to places like Mars, to look for places like submarines, to look for places like underground bases. There's like over 1 million different documents specifically on Project Stargate that you can look into on the CIA's website, right? So that is not up for debate. I think what's up for debate currently in the spiritual community is, did Stargate actually end, or did they just say that it ended and kept doing similar research under a different name? That's what I believe. Take what you will and leave the rest. If you like this kind of content, this is normally the stuff that I do on my 5D membership over on my platform. And on my website, I have a week free trial where you can try my 5D membership, get all sorts of channeled messages, remote viewing messages, Akashic records, meditations. So if you want to dive deeper into this work, that is the perfect thing for you. If you want to work with me one-on-one, I do offer virtual readings from anywhere in the world where I connect with your Akashic record, which is your soul purpose, your past life, your soul contracts, and you guys can access all of that in the show notes and at the link in my bio. I would love to connect with you guys further, and if you have any friends that are interested in the realm that we were talking about today, please share with a friend, and I hope you guys have a beautiful day. I will see you next episode.